Okay, so it's time to start. So the last talk session of the day in this room is Python Quest in Taiwan by Keith Yang.
Wait. Hey. Okay. Now, yes, my name is Keith Yang, and I'm from Taiwan. And now I like to show some news from the student draw Japan flag Matplotlib Python notebook in this summer. So that surprised me actually. Actually, this is in 2014. Nano data analysis is with Python in Taiwan by Dr. Cai Yuanlong 老师. So it's a summer camp for fresh person to play data with Python, and it started about 10 days ago, and then just finished right now. It hold between two universities from the South Taiwan to North, and you're doing some input analysis and display. Yes. The number two news is about in India, there's Python is yet to find place in teaching curriculum in India, despite its popularity. Actually, it's quite. It's not news though. I heard this everywhere. Now this is India. And this is a news thing about a top software company was faced with quandary. It has won a 200 million contract to develop an App Store for a large US bank, but did not have adequate numbers of programmers who could write code in Python, and the language almost most suited for the job. So in the end, they pay a lot of money to outsourcing the project to a US team to take care of this project. So they spend a lot of money in the end. So yeah, my name is Chris Yang, and I work for a small startup company in Taiwan, Taipei, and his name is Bidio, and he is doing some e-commerce platform for small shops to open their store on internet. And I'm also the Taipei.py organizer. We hold regularly monthly meetup in Taipei, and I'm the web chair in PyCon APAC 2014. Have anyone been PyCon APAC this year in Taipei? Okay, so yes, and I will be the chairperson in next year in PyCon APAC, the Asia Pacific in Taiwan. Yeah. So this talk is about some changes I observed in Python Taiwan community, about changes and trends and challenges, and what is going on and how is going on, and what we are proposing, and from here how we improve future. About changes and challenges. I think that's everywhere. In teaching, learning, coding, and education, I think it's all around the world. Because this is all Python challenge. Have anyone played this? Can show me your hand? Lintot. Yes, that's it's quite beautiful. Well, it started in 2005 in May. But now it's already has 1 million people already play it, and it started in 2004 April, written by Meetup Summit. And if you count it, it's about 14,000 attempts per month to play Python challenge. So now it's more playing as a service everywhere. Now there are some MOOC, like massive online course for you to play or games. Check it out. Some co-academic drink, the latest one, Udacity. So usually we might think Python is easy to learn. That's why I think so. With changes, like in the United States, there's a project called How of Code, which held by a non-profit organization and implements website in the United States. It's inspiring K-12 students to take an interest in the computer science, and especially in urban and rural neighborhoods. I think that's very important. And this in the United Kingdom. So it's a code club. It's a volunteer-led after-school coding club for children aged 9 to 11, which is very popular one in England right now. And the latest news in September is the BBC begins its kids coding push with bite-size and TV shows. So that's also what's happening around the world. So that's an interesting one question is, teaching Python is hard? Oh, if monsters there, or teaching anything is hard? Actually, but playing is easier to do. So that's why we are experienced learn by play Python. And with code to learn, like Google India, they have a code to learn project in India. And if you are interested, you can Google it. That's the reason in 2000. Yeah, that's the event of this year also. And now, for example, Jekyll. They get lots of feedback from educators who use Jekyll to teach Python, like MIT, Georgia Tech, and the University of Washington. And why they are use this tool or service, I think, actually this is from the CEO of Jekyll. These are give me the feedback about why, how he got feedback about exchanging experience. Because when you play the games, you might exchange about experience. When you play the Python challenge, you might like to know how people solve this issue. And build solution of others to the same mission they solve, and learn new tool they didn't know before. I think it's quite interesting, as I ever did to the Python challenge, because you will say, "Wow, how he do that?" And how they solve this problem is so different to me. Yes, and that's another interesting case is about grading, like the data, or should be the teacher say to his students, if you reach the 5th label at Jekyll, you'll get C this grade of your grade on exam. That's very interesting feedback from Jekyll. Actually, in PyCon Taiwan, we have a PyCon Taiwan ISN in Jekyll. In this year, in this year PyCon APAC. But actually, it's fun, and but it's also a challenge rather than we think originally, because the localization for non-English countries is a limit, I think. Like now it's still all in English, so maybe someone who is not so good at English, then they are hard to play the game. And also the maintenance on design customized games is not easy. We have few resources to maintain this ISN, so now the test on the ISN is left to 1 or 2 before we have already designed about 7 or 8 tasks. So, and the resources it might feel conflict with the traditional class material in school because actually now in school system there are already many different like homework or grading systems. So something outside the system might face the denied of study, or the teachers just don't have time to study this kind of service or tool or new tool because maybe they are already overflowed. So what are we proposing? So this is geekpy.org. It's by one of our local user group organizer, Wei Zeren, Dr. Wei. And he encourages students or anyone to play challenges for fun, and some prize. Like he gives tickets of PyCon APAC in Taiwan this year if you achieve the top 3 label. But this kind of service is also facing the challenges like maintenance and availability. If some like it holds on some like local computer, once the computer had faced a network problem or the electric problem, then it just the connection just time out, unreliable. I'm not sure if it is fixed right now, but you can try. And but how to spread the fun and the updates and news, you need in more human resource also. And actually the goal is to motivate the students, but motivation I think is hard. Without a growing atmosphere, I think it's hard to just, especially in beginning. And but I asked him, he told me we'll still see you there in next year. So there will be GitPy quiz next year also. Yeah. And this job by the Dr. Wei also, very interesting one with like CG technologies. Yeah. So also in PyCon APAC Taiwan, we have a student tickets, and then we also provide financial aids. But actually this is fine. Student tickets in this year, we saw almost 100 tickets sold out, and our total tickets is about 600 tickets, and this is about 1/6. But financial aid is less than our expectation in the end, because some may apply but feel not enough from the outside of Taiwan and they have problem to come. So I think next year, before next year, PyCon, we should do more, maybe more broadcast, more on code for application. I hope we can do better in next year on financial aid. In Taipei.py, a local user group, we have hold some teacher learn Python Meetup. We try to gather in discussing on the education possibilities. Actually, it's a concept event called PyClub. The first rule of PyClub is you do talk in PyClub. It's a trigger from Fight Club anyway. So, but the challenges of the kind of UI is unofficial system and actually it doesn't really involve the center decision makers. So I think it will need party players to join. Also, it's not much students oriented. It's still a discussion around teachers. So, and sometimes because it's unofficial, it's hard to keep progress and continuation, and then becomes a distraction. And in Taiwan community, we try to hold some Taipei workshop, like Taipei Python workshop. So these some pictures I took during the event. So it's by PyLadies Taiwan and Taipei.py in this year in August. So it's a Python tutorial for starter. And in the morning, we do set up again about 2 hours. So I think this is most important part because if they miss this part, they are hard to participate again. And then in the afternoon is a team play. We divide the teams into web, the GUI, mobile with Kiwi, and also playing data. So actually in the event is quite success, but also because it's our first time, I think it's still a step to improve. And we have more tutorials in PyLadies Taiwan, and from July, August to September, it's for every time the meetup, the tutorials. It's about in July we are doing with Taipei.py about Taipei Python workshops. In August is Django tutorial. It's always for anything about Django anyway. And in September, Git tutorial is also for because anyway, they are so hot topics. So everything related to Django, Git, Python is so easy to people, right? And now we have Django Girls Taiwan, Taipei this month. And later this month, they'll teach in Python, HTML, and from Django base to more deeper application. And it's already full anyway, still. And it's a whole day event, so should be very fun. And we already have website in djangogirls.org/Taipei. Actually, the registration is quickly going to 160 registration for 20 spots received in less than 2 days. So I think the coding and the growth is really high in Taiwan anyway, Taipei. And actually yesterday, Taipei.py has also held a Raspberry Pi workshop. So it's also very success for over the limit again. And I really like to be there, but I can't because I'm in Japan. And the subject is about do your own game console. Well, I should be there. Yeah, and this is some special workshop we are doing these days. And this is one of the teacher in our meetup about Teach Learn Python meetup. And he shows how to write Python in Chinese. So, like, this is the famous module named Turtle. So, Turtle equals Turtle class. And then Turtle high turtle, something like that. So he learned some like use some Chinese to learn some variables, and then he can use some turtle. I should put the English version, and you will see turtle go to XY, something like that. And actually, I think that really doing work. It's by Dr. Liu Ren Yuan, yeah. And I think the concept is easy to learn programming with familiar natural language. Actually, it's true when you are facing some people who never coding and maybe have not so familiar with English also. Actually, I think that's quite, in some perspective, that's quite success. It's a pressure of learning to code, because when you need to study one language, actually you are facing more language than you think, especially when you learn even Rails, Django, actually, I think I'm imagining that actually they are facing, for newbie, they are facing 3 languages. First, if you are not English speak, you are facing English first, and then you are facing Python, then you are facing MVC, like web framework. So actually you are learning some new things, not just one. So I think this teach Python in Chinese is like try to ease one of the fact. And if you just start with like turtle module, you don't need to mix it with Django or Rails. Actually, I think that's something easier for like all new learner. So from here, we are going to import a future. So like, but to so what's the future? Actually, it's but to the future, 2015. Yes. So 2015, there's Asia Pacific in Taipei, Taiwan, my typo, 2015, early June. And there were tutorials, workshops, sprints, open space, night markets, and more. Maybe PyLadies APAC. It's very expensive, right? And that's about my talk. Thank you. Yeah. So, question and answers.
Any questions? We have quite a bit of time. Okay, and then thank you again, Keith.
Okay, thank you.
Please give warm hands to Keith again. So we are done a bit early, but I have got a couple of announcements to make. First one is that we are going to take a huge group photo for the, including the staff and all the attendees in the first floor of the conference hall. So after this, if you could all go to the first floor of the conference hall, that'll be awesome. And also right after that, we are going to hold the lightning talk and closing sessions there. So yeah, that's in the conference hall as well. So if you could all head to the conference hall now, I'll be glad. Thank you very much.